goblins gaily dancing, skip and hop. Let us stop. From the place where they are hiding, slipping, sliding, they come gliding.
Don't just fall.
Rod and fall.
See them all.
See them all. Shake like skeleton at that skeleton rag. Oh, that skeleton rag. That goblin rag, it sounds so weepy, creepy, solemn, serious. See them wiggle and wag. Singing with it one song so light. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Oh, that skeleton rag. They pull and rag about their rap with tap with laugh delirious. Some go gag in that moany, groany, phony skeleton rag. Look around, hear the sound. Don't it make you shake and shiver? Don't it make you quake and quiver?
Can't you hear?
Can't you hear?
Music queer.
Music queer. See that melancholy fellow playing on his ghostly cello as he croons. Ragtime blues. From his long and bony fingers come the melody that lingers
On the air.
on the air.
So beware.
So beware, you'll be dying to start in find that rag. Oh, that skeleton rag.
That goblin
That
rag.
goblin rag, it sounds so weepy, creepy, solemn, serious. See them wiggle and wag. Singing with that one song so light. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Oh, that skeleton rag. They pull and brag about their rapid tap with laugh delirious. Some ghostly gag in that moany, groany, phony skeleton rag.
Gather all around me, little pickaninny boys. Ooh, ooh, don't you hear that scary? Can't you hear that scary noise? Listen to that awful moan, I guess you better run on home.
The boogeyman is here.
Hurry up and go to bed and cover up your woolly head.
The boogeyman is here.
Don't you never let him get you from your mammy's door, 'cause mammy loves you so. Get you run and don't look back until you get to Patty Shack. The boogeyman is here.
shot that rascal to the head. Six barbarous take him on his last go round. Six barbarous take him on his last go round. Gonna place him neath 6 feet of ground. Cemetery, though is one my lonesome place. Cemetery, though is one my lonesome place. When you're dead, they throw dirt in your face. I can't find on a even dress in black. I can't find on a even dress in black. On for good, and he ain't coming back. Bought him flowers, laid 'em at my good man's head.
La da 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 doody doo.
Oh,
Poopy.
laid 'em
Everybody.
at my good man's head.
Oh, it's live. We are live right now. And like I just said, I put it in the chat room. This is a mix of very early 20th century Halloween music. And right now you are listening to Undertaker's Blues. That's 1924. And like I also just put in the chat room, if you can't do math quickly, that was a 101-year-old recording. What the hell do you guys think about that? Sheri and Dave are here for a Saturday night. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Oh, hey, man. I didn't expect to see you.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
Nice
Where
to
the-
see you.
Where the hell did you guys come from?
You know.
Nice to see you here.
Yeah, it's good to see you
Haven't
guys.
seen you in a while.
You're no fooling. It's actually been over a month. The last time we saw each other was at the Jamboree,
Yep.
and the last time we were all in this room together was the VIP night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I haven't even been able to talk to you guys about that.
It's so much cooler in here
I'm
now.
still sweating.
It's almost like this
is
place
nice.
has been it's been like blessed almost.
Yeah.
There was so much good human activity in this place a month ago.
Yeah. There's a lot of good people, too. Everyone I met was, like, really nice.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
You expected with that many people, you expect one or two assholes.
Yeah, I expected
Not one.
something.
yeah. I expected Rev to be an asshole.
Mm.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you got to watch out. This guy, he's just going to be, this is going to be horrible.
You'll still have to put a picture up of him for me.
Yeah, Rev's in the chat room right there. I think
Did I talk
Sheri,
to you?
of course, Sheri had to have talked to Chuck. Sheri's like, you got to give me show me a picture of Rev. He was here that night. He's like, get
Yeah.
out of here. I thought everybody knew who each other was. We had the name tags.
Not everybody had the name tags saying their name and what their handle is online. And I certainly didn't go up to everybody and like look at
I got the jam with Zoso, dude. That was awesome.
That was great.
He's a good guy.
Sheri, can you bring that a little bit closer to your mouth?
Yes.
That's what she said.
I ask her that every night.
Yes. And Dave, we're good. I just don't every night.
Every night.
That's sick.
The
How
amount of
sick.
shots you don't take.
Exactly.
You know?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't
So I'm
take.
just constantly asking for blowjobs.
Whatever.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
that's what it
You
is.
see, that's the thing. You can't. I've just never been that type. Just can't. I feel
Really?
like
You don't like blowjob?
No. You can't ask for things like that because then it's just like, thanks for the favor.
Exactly.
You know.
Now I owe you.
I
Yeah, I got it.
everybody wants to feel thirsted over, right? At least once in a while,
I mean,
where
Yes.
it's not a negotiation.
well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody, welcome to the show. It's a Saturday night, and we are live on pilled.net. I keep telling Matt from pilled.net, we got to get a front page feature or something going on so that, for like, really special engagement nights like this, it can be like, hey, bring the entire pond in for the ride. But you know what? This has been well promoted, and this will also be premiered if we don't go crazy with the copyright material. This will be premiered not only on Rumble next Friday, but it'll be premiered on YouTube and on Twitter. So, and I'm hoping that kind of momentum will get people saying, "I want to see this live," and they'll start showing up more often.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's October. And I was waiting for these nights because I know that you guys, I mean, Dave, you're a horror aficionado.
I love horror. Ever since I was a boy.
Sherry, I have to imagine that you're more so along for the ride, or do you love it as much as he does?
Oh no, I hate horror.
Oh, you do? But you like Halloween this season.
I like Halloween, yeah, and I do like the decorating and stuff, and they really get into the artsy end of it
Right.
with displays and whatnot. They have a little shed out back that's their studio, their art studio.
My horror shed.
She's been showing me the updates to that project. It's beautiful,
cool, right? It's fun.
It's really cool.
His
I
his
all my
dollhouse.
stuff that I've collected over all the years, the Jaws memorabilia and all that shit, I just put it in this little shed where I do make my doll houses and hang out, play cards once in a while.
He makes little doll houses with horror movie scenes in them.
Yeah, one time I'll send you some pics.
No, on the 25th, you have to make sure I get all that in media because you guys are coming back on Saturday the 25th, right?
Yes, and we have a surprise for you.
Really?
Yep. Not saying anything though.
Okay.
Yep.
You think about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
The only hint I'll give you is I used to be a male stripper. It's the only hint you're gonna get.
Oh, I'm not going to get like a used G-string or something, am I? Jeez.
It's only kind of G-string as a used one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is great. This is great to have you guys, and I can't wait for that. And
Let's talk about our favorite people at the Quite Frankly gathering.
yeah, I want to get all of the thoughts you have on this out first because my father hasn't given me his.
That's what I was going to ask you because the first thing I was going to ask you about, I was like, has your dad talked to you about it yet? Because
He was
when
great.
I went up to him and put his name tag on, he was like, it looked like, and I've never seen your dad like that before. He's usually,
He
he's on it.
told a couple
What
people
the
I
fuck
don't.
is going
yeah,
on here?
I love that story. Whoever told it, and I but yeah, because I want to hear you guys talk about it. But since you brought up my father, he told me the 2 days, the day after, it was that Sunday, following Sunday, he came by shortly because he and my mother were going to Madison Square Garden to see Pink.
I thought it was
Lady
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Oh yeah, that's right. They sat next to Pink.
Oh, I didn't
wow.
know that.
At Lady Gaga, because my father knows like a vice president at Madison Square Garden.
We need to talk
Nice.
about that too,
I-
because
Get him on the line.
I know, but my mother was like, Roger Rabbit, the shaving a haircut trick where you dun, 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 and Roger Rabbit's like trying not to bust through the door.
yeah,
She was told beforehand, don't approach or talk to Pink at all. So they're in a back room. They're in a back room, like a VIP, like a family and friends room, and it's all catered and stuff. And they're like right now, and they can't say anything. And if you know anything about my mother, you know that she's like a 15-year-old when it comes to celebrities. It doesn't matter what is going on. If they're having an intimate dinner, she'll crawl under the table and like listen to what they're talking. And I saw Joe Torre. a couple of years ago, Lauren and I had our Christmas date at Frankie and Johnny's, the steakhouse, and we're at the bar waiting for our table to be ready, and we noticed that Joe Torre is at a booth and having a dinner with his wife or something like that. And I texted my mother, texted my brother, said, Joe Torre's over here. And I was like, go talk to him. Like he's eating. So if I rub shoulders with him at coat check afterwards, I'll say, Mr. Torre, I just want to say thank you for enriching a wonderful,
say something nice.
Childhood. My childhood would be nothing without you, Mr. Torre. Thank you so much for everything. I would do something like that. Not when you're eating. No. But so imagine my mother being in a lounge.
Oh, no.
She's like right next
a lounge
to her?
next to Pink, and then Pink sat right behind her, couldn't turn around, nothing. You don't want to breach. So that must have been shit.
Just to see, how's the rest of the crowd doing today?
Right.
Yeah, she put some pictures up on Instagram. Was it a picture of Lady Gaga? Was she like in the same room as her? Where was she? Where was she sitting? In the owner's booth?
It was like a booth or something like that. They had great vantage point, but the reason why I was bringing that up is before they went to MSG, my father, all he said was, I need time to process what we saw at the Jamboree. I have to do a little bit of writing on this, whatever the hell it is. He had to put it. I haven't spoken to him since about it. Hopefully I can. Yeah. But I know that some things must have came into focus for him and other members of my family who know what I do, and they've seen the streams over the last 20 years, but to see a room of nearly 140 people that second night coming from all over the world,
it was very cool.
Yeah, to see what this looks like in real life, that's great.
To know that people are willing to get together and travel from faraway places, exotic lands. Mm-hmm. It says something.
Exotic.
Cool. Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
I really enjoyed the Jamboree the night before. The night before, I enjoyed jamming. That was fun.
The music never stopped. It was so great.
It was so fun.
So great. And another shout out to Pete and Tom from Massachusetts, who came down and provided the PA and all the guitars. And
they were great. It was fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And this place has been remarkably clean but energized. And then, of course, another thing I haven't been able to talk to you guys about. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I know that this goes far beyond just that one day, because now we are just one day over a month since the big assassination, which kind of, we were all riding high, and then all of a sudden we had a 9/11 kind of moment, the eve, 9/11 eve. And I don't know, what do you guys think about that?
I was really upset about it, and I was shocked that he was as upset as he was.
Well, yeah, because she texted me. I was at work, and she texted me, and then she sent a video, and I watched a video, and I was immediately, it's traumatizing to see someone like that,
Yeah.
Think about it, traumatized millions of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
really was.
But you both have been binging on all types of analyticals and stuff like that now. And what do you?
I'm deep with Candace. I'm with Candace all the way.
I fear for her.
Oh, so you guys are both really honed in on what Candace Owens is.
Candace, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's the latest right now? Because I saw the text messages, and that was pretty.
Where she's at now is she's looking at where he got shot from, because she definitively knows, but can't say from whom, that it's not a .30-06 bullet.
Can't be.
It's a fragment of a bullet, and it was shot from much closer and from a certain direction. So she's trying to gather footage and expertise and all sorts of stuff. So
she's
wants
got
to
a
prove the
slew
angle.
of people, she has tip lines,
But it's like anybody who says she's talking shit isn't listening to the whole thing, because it's been going on now how many days since he died, and she's really been building this thing. And if you see how the truth. The truth sounds right. And she's absolutely saying that she's not accusing Israel of doing it, which is what everybody's saying. She wants to find out, but she also wants to find out why people are lying. So there's two things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Why
because she was friends with
is
Charlie Kirk,
Israel trying to control
They try
a
to tell you
narrative?
that they weren't friends, that they had to break up and all this kind of thing. It's just not true.
I'll tell you, man. I really enjoy my role with this show, and I enjoy my role, the flexibility of being able to hang back with everybody and just watch stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Yeah.
I've put plenty of my own thoughts out there and my own unchanging conclusions about things like even little lies. Little lies are worse than the big ones.
Right.
Because, I understand why sometimes you want to at least obfuscate details of big things, especially if it does. But any part of this, when you think about it being a civilian level act of violence,
Doesn't seem like that. To me, it doesn't.
it can't. It can't be.
No. The fact that you've got decoys and there's just a few things that happened immediately that make you say, okay, now I can't trust anything that comes out through the official channels. So you have to.
It's got a lot of people split.
We have to figure it out on our own.
I know, and
I mean, and that kid going. I mean, that kid's probably part of it. The kid that they're accusing of doing it, he probably didn't even realize that the whole thing was going to be pinned on him.
There's a guy running around with his pants down. It's like, come on, what's going on?
It is. It's a circus.
What?
Literally,
There's
a guy
all this
running
shit
around,
going on all over the place. Weird shit.
and then
Doesn't make any
paving
sense,
over
obviously.
the area.
I mean, I don't know. I don't get crazy with it, but I'm interested, and I like to see different ways people go about what they look into. They veer off this way, and it's kind of interesting that take.
Now you
But I'm
start
not
covering up a crime scene though, and I'm really super.
Well, that's the thing. Like my father was a cop, and there would be a crime scene. You wouldn't know. They'd tape it off. You wouldn't be able to go in the area, and they immediately
and just like with
cemented
the Trump
over everything.
shooter,
It's just very bizarre.
They were
The whole
they were
fucking
power
thing
washing
is
the
bizarre
roof.
and disgusting.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my 2 cents.
that's my 2 cents to it.
I know, and again, like I said, it was almost like highest of highs, and then almost like not like but a gut punch.
Yeah.
And it's also doing strange things to the whole right community online. Like, the people who are going the Candace direction, the people that are trying to stop everybody, don't say stuff, then you have to take them off your list now. It's like, eventually, I'm going to be down to like 5 podcasts of people that tell the truth.
Hey, I figure the more people who beclown themselves, the better I make out in this respect.
It's good.
Because I don't know, it's very awkward behavior to see people take those adversarial stances and not even necessarily like make a decision now. Who do you think is on the right track? But the whole cloth dismissiveness.
Right.
Dismissiveness is very strange to me.
If you can't see that there's something odd about this shooting, then, you're stupid or you're part of it.
Maybe people of a certain age, they're just like, I don't know from anything, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be. Well, either way,
Pay attention to anything.
we're talking about all types of creepy stuff tonight. That is definitely a creepy thing.
Creepy bat wing.
Oh, look at that.
Ring. Bat wing. Bat
That's
wing
like-
is when your ball
and-
gets stuck inside your leg. This is a bat ring.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, the bat wing is also one of the. You ever see Waiting?
Yes.
The bat wing.
Yeah. That's
You have to stretch out your ball sack.
That's right. That's right.
It can look like a bat wing. I was watching Waiting again, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago before. I think because it just left Netflix or somewhere or Amazon. I was watching it again. This is just an all-time classic at this point.
I've only seen it once.
You've only seen Waiting once?
Yeah.
Watch it again.
Ryan Reynolds. Sometimes
Doesn't do it for you.
Once in a while he does, but not all the time.
It's the same.
It's kind of the same thing all the way.
Yes.
Did you know that Ryan Reynolds burnt down his elementary school in Canada?
Sick.
Like to the ground?
No.
Oh, maybe I like him now.
It's on The Nerve.
That's not a
If
good
anybody
thing.
who watches The Nerve will know that she just talked about him this week. But yeah, he did that.
I didn't know.
He's crazy. He's a psychopath.
I know somebody who installed the home theater, Ryan Reynolds' home theater. And apparently he was a cock. He was a cock to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard some.
And that's the funny thing. You always know someone who did something or know someone who knows someone, and they had some kind of a brush up with some celebrity type, a well-known person, and that anecdote becomes the way you look at the person forever. Oh yeah. Well, I kind of know. He was a cock to a friend of mine, so he's probably a terrible person. Oh gosh.
I have tried to avoid that stuff when I see famous people.
Well, he sees them all the time.
I do, but not all the time.
Well, in Chappaqua.
What? Oh, because they buy jewelry from you?
Yeah, there's, the
Catherine
Clintons lived there.
Zeta-Jones had a crush on him.
She didn't have a crush on me.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, you knew her?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know her, but I pierced her daughter's ears, and I met her, and I talked to her
How many times?
a couple times. Came back for other stuff.
For others? Oh, well, that's great. Did you ever meet Michael Douglas?
No.
Is she the one that gave Michael Douglas a throat cancer?
Supposedly,
From her vagina, right?
That's what he said. He said
I
that.
still don't know how that works, but I guess if it's a thing.
Well, it's warts.
Really?
Well, that's how I think you would give somebody cancer. If she would have to have warts, HPV, and he would, you know what I'm saying.
Well, that's what he said on a talk show.
She didn't seem like that.
He said oral sex. He said oral sex caused his cancer.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Was it her? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess that's one.
I would imagine Michael Douglas has done his fair share of having a boxed lunch at the Y, if you know what I'm talking.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
I don't get it. Catherine Zeta-Jones, I have a, the front, my left front tooth is like, it's bonded because it got chipped. I passed out in high school. I was in junior year of high school, and I was in a health class. And my health teacher, who was really the music teacher, I don't know why he got the health teacher role as well. His name was Joe Hanneman, and he played a big role in organizing or producing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades for a long time. And he's a band leader and all that stuff. And he was our health teacher. We had to go report down into one of the basement level music rooms. We had all these tubas around us, but we're sitting around, we're talking about, health related stuff. And he's just, every time he had a story, it always, I guess he spent a lot of time rehabilitating whores, and he spent a lot of time, I guess, trying to, help prostitutes get off the streets, and which is noble. I don't know
That's
exactly why, if it was just he just left the house at night, said, I'm going to help a prostitute, or if he was part of like a Big Brother program. I don't, God bless you.
Thank you.
Anyway, this one night this one afternoon, he was telling us a story about a prostitute that he was, helping, that was in some way, and she had like a $500 a day heroin habit, and
high priced. Okay.
I got an issue with needles, and back then I had a lot more of an issue with. I've kind of like,
yeah, I'm not.
I've been all right with it lately. But back then he was just talking about the track marks and stuff like that. And I started feeling, I said, okay, listen.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you?
All the I was maybe junior year of high school. So I said, I raised my hand. I said, Mr. Hanneman, I got to go to the bathroom. He said, no. And I said,
what?
I said, I got to go to the bathroom. And I got up and I left. So I made my way up one flight of steps, and I was on ground level. I said, I'm not making it up the second flight of steps. I'm going out this side door, and I'm just going to chill outside for a little bit and get some air. I remember I opened up the door. I leaned up against a brick wall at my high school. I'm leaning up against the wall. I'm looking up at the trees. It's a nice gentle breeze outside. It's a nice day, but the fucking black starts creeping in from the sides, and I start feeling like there's like ginger ale in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. I said, I remember the last things I said. I just said, oh, Jesus. I said Jesus' name about 3 times.
It's not a bad thing to say right before you think you're
I know, but what I should have done was save my energy and sit down.
Yeah, of course.
Because the black took over everything.
Yeah.
And then when I opened up my eyes, I was face down on the concrete.
Oh.
And I kind of like pushed myself up. I sat up and said, what the fuck? And then I ran my tongue across my teeth, and I felt the jagged, broken front tooth. And I said, fuck. And I had just, listen.
That bums me out.
I know, because only a couple of, maybe about a couple of years prior, I had gotten my braces off.
Oh, you didn't even get to enjoy it.
I was. It was all nice. Anyway, so that day my mother picks me. I had to call her up and said, listen, I broke my tooth. I passed out, whatever. And she brought me to the dentist to get it cleaned up and all patched up. Well, about a year and a half later, I was at home watching. I was watching, I think, like the Oscars. I was watching the Oscars with my high school girlfriend at the time, and Catherine Zeta-Jones came out with her big pregnant breasts, and I made a comment about, damn, look at just I just made a small comment about how voluptuous she looked, and I got a slap to the face, it was supposed to be playful, okay? Still did not go well, okay? But I got, and with the ring I got her for like the last Christmas, she hit the bonding, and I felt the cap fall to my mouth, and I was like, "You son of a bitch!" Oh, unbelievable, you know. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, that's.
You always think of her when you think of your.
Whenever I see her, I think about my chip,
so does Michael Douglas.
Yeah, right? My tooth getting rechipped. She fucked up my mouth too. So that was. So in a way, I know her too. In a way, I know her too. See the anecdotes that gave us together.
We'll find a way.
I don't know. That's just what it is. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to be doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Among other things, I'm going to be opening up the lines, and I want to hear your ghost stories.
Not too scary though.
Whatever you want.
Too scary.
Whatever you want.
Super scary.
Go super scary, unexplained events. Here, the lines are officially open. It's 914-200-0269. It's the normal call-in line. Unexplained events, non-human encounters, UFO contact, poltergeist, and true hauntings. Want to hear about it, okay? I also want to say, be concise. All right. Don't get hung up on the color of the carpets and the drapes and all that stuff.
Yeah, let's try and do the perfect call, people. No turning off. You gotta turn that shit off in the background. You know what to do.
Just get right to the good stuff. And Sheri, Dave, myself, we will ask the follow-up questions. We will ask the obvious questions.
And then we'll judge you.
That's it. And everybody at home will determine whether or not you're crazy. And but this is what we love doing this time of year. So the lines are open. We want to hear about all of your unexplained happenings and events and spooky stories. Call in, and make our evenings. Okay. I have one thing I will bring up that is because I just came back from the Adirondacks. So I always think about our time in the mountains and there in the woods, and I always wonder about what's going on out there in those woods. And so if you have any kind of haunting stories from the mountains or things like that, I would love to hear all about that. And I will say this before we start taking the calls that are already coming in. There was one time that Lauren and I, probably around 2018 or 19, we went to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. And there's a mansion there that they do.
The Jim Thorpe's mansion?
No.
Does he own Pennsylvania? Like, what's Jim Thorpe?
We knew a guy named Jim Thorpe.
Jim Thorpe. I think it was once called Malchunk or the Malhunk. I don't know what the hell it's called. I think it's Malchunk Mountain or something.
Mohunk?
No, Malhunk is.
Yeah.
But over there, it's a big place, a big coal mining town. Jim Thorpe, and he's like one of America's first sports heroes, and he's half Native American, Native American Heisman Trophy winner, I think. Okay. Anyway, over there is this wonderful mansion that you can go to and have a full murder mystery experience.
Oh, that's fun.
And Lauren and I were given a reservation there one year from her father. Like in the Christmas of 2018, we were given this. And I think we said, oh, you know what? Let's go there November 2019. So we put it down. We drove out, and it was really a lot of fun. And we were sleeping in this carriage house, and at night one time, and we are just, this is a little valley, mountain town. You go outside of the place at night. You look off into the distance. You have to look up quite a bit to be able to see the actual night sky because you're surrounded by this big black silhouette of a mountain that in English translates to sleeping bear, and because it kind of looks like a sleeping bear.
Wow.
I swear to you, there was one night, and I asked Lauren, I don't know, I forget if Lauren actually heard it too, but one night, and I wasn't stoned. It was probably around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and in Kubrick's 2001 Odyssey, Space Odyssey, where you have, it was the monolith, the opening scene with the monolith, and they have that cacophonous kind of like, music playing.
Uh-huh.
Hold on, let me. No,
not that one.
No, hold on. Let me see here. 2001 Space Odyssey monolith scene. Here we go. It's the first one. Here we go. This is when all the ape people.
Apes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Guys,
I swear to God, what you're about to hear right now is what I heard coming from the mountain.
Okay.
And I so what the fuck?
That's scary.
Okay, because it's not this is not a passing train.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
I know what it was. I know what you heard.
Not that.
Oh yeah, no, the growling. No.
This.
Yeah, that's creepy sound.
Dude.
A swarm of cicadas and 2 coyotes fighting.
Yeah.
It sounds like
That was coming from the mountain.
Wow.
I was coming from the mountain. I got fucking goosebumps right now.
Why did you stay there? I would have been like, later. We're out of here.
It wasn't because it was odd, but it didn't scare me. Like it didn't like pack up. We're driving home. It was we're only like
because it was constant.
It went away. No, it was one night for a short period of time. We're talking about over the course of maybe like 10 to 15 minutes and it was probably less than that, much less. But there was no explanation for it. There's nothing in the area that could have possibly generated that sound. And
we had a couple of times. There was one time a fawn got stuck in a fence outside of our house, and it was screaming. And I
sounded like a baby
human.
screaming bloody murder in our backyard.
So
a little
things
tiny
can
baby.
Sound weird.
Yeah, that was scary.
I don't know. That was scary.
We didn't know what the fuck it was until we started looking around.
I know, man. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Like that music.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so 914-200-0269. You get what I'm saying now? You get it? That's what we're looking for. So give us a call. And if we have things that do really, if we get too creepy over the course of the next, I don't know, maybe 45 to 60 minutes, I think around 10:30, that makes a good show. I have some funny things that could break things up. Well, here's the first call that comes in. It is from area code 818. Well, who's this?
This is Larry. How are you?
Larry. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. So I'm a public figure. If you don't mind, I'll say my last name if it's okay. And it's Whitaker, Larry Whitaker. And I've been in the film industry for years.
What have you done?
And Space Jam.
Oh, really?
Bigger movie.
All
My
right.
very first boss was a man named Steven Spielberg. He directed a couple of movies you might have heard of. And I worked on Tiny Toons way back when.
I see you right here. Larry Whitaker, the anime. You're an animator?
Yep, animation director and animator.
Okay.
Larry, will you hire my son?
Our son is an animator.
Wow. Wait. Okay. So Larry, and I know that you've been watching for a while. We've talked in the past, but I guess I don't remember everybody's profession. So this just adds a little bit more interestingness to it. So where does your story take place, my friend?
It takes place in Trivandrum, India.
What were you doing out there?
So I got a call to work on a project. It was a toy line, and they were doing a movie, a direct-to-video movie for it. called. It's a toy line's Playmobil. It's more popular in Europe, but it's in the States too. And so I was hired on as animation supervisor on that project, animation director. And part of the production was in Canada, part of it in Los Angeles, and then part of it in India. And now I live just about 50 miles from where Jim Thorpe was actually born, in Oklahoma.
Wow.
So, so I went out to India on 2 trips. And my second trip out there, I brought my second AD, animation director, to come out with me because I was going to leave him there, and I did, to work on the project while I continued in Los Angeles. Well, one night I had gone to the beach, which is near the Arabian Sea, near the tip of India. If you look up where Trivandrum is, you can see exactly where it's at. Very old city. There's an old ruined port there that the locals say was part of King Solomon's kingdom. Also, where I was at specifically was had a little bit larger Christian population because Doubting Thomas had come down through that area and preached the gospel down there. And I found all this history when I was there. It was very interesting.
Wowie.
That's great.
So one night after being at the Arabian Sea there, I decided I was going to stay in the Mascot Hotel. And the Mascot Hotel is an older hotel. It's kind of like the Ritz-Carlton of the area. Yeah, but it's dirt cheap, at least at the time it was. So I thought I'll stay there. Well, about 2 a.m, I got shoved in my sleep. If you ever slept and you feel like something shoved you or you jumped in your sleep. So I sat up, put my feet on the ground, and I realized that I'd left the TV on. And I reached over to turn the light off next to me, and the light started to dim. I thought, oh no, we're having a brownout. Then I looked over behind me, and the opposite light, because I was on this big king-size bed, the opposite light behind me wasn't dark. But as I was looking at it, the darkness that I saw in the previous, in the light next to me, creeped over my head, and it was as if the light was being sucked out of the room. I don't know any other way to describe it.
Something was being absorbed, Larry?
Yeah, like something was sucking the light out of the room, and so it had this kind of unearthly darkness in the room. It wasn't pitch black; it was just dimmed. And I remember I looked up to my left, above my head, and this black, boiling mass started to manifest. Now, again, I'm not a holy roller. Grew up in a mainstream Christian church. I'd never seen anything like this before or since. Wasn't expecting it. Wasn't looking for it. But as this thing boiled, it was as if you've ever been at the bottom of a pool and worn goggles and look up, everything's clear because you got a diving mask on. Imagine somebody taking a 5-gallon bucket of India ink and pouring it down toward you. That's what it looked like.
Wow. I can see that imagery in my head.
Scary.
Because I was going to ask you, describe boiled, but that's crazy. Okay, so you're not in a pool, obviously.
Yeah, there were old special effects that they did this way. Like if you've ever seen, I'm sure you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the clouds roll in during the opening of the Ark of the Covenant sequence, they did that with paint in a big tank, and they filmed it, and it looks like clouds, and it kind of had that quality to it.
Yeah.
Is that what they did with the opening of Neverending Story as well?
I'm sure they did. That effect was used many times, long before CG. And I've done CGI too. If you've ever seen the old movie Mighty Joe Young, it was a remake of a Ray Harryhausen movie with Charlize Theron and Bill Paxton. I supervised the ape on that movie.
Oh.
That's cool.
Damn, Larry, you got to call in more often. Okay. Yeah. All right, so now you have this boiling black mass that is just essentially being dunked into your room from overhead from some other dimension. And what the hell happens?
Did you befriend it?
Well, it wasn't happy I was there.
Okay.
It was, and this is a very important element because this has changed the way I look at things. It was, and I don't know how this is possible because how can you know what more than reality is? You live in reality. What's more than real? It was more real than the room was real. I don't know how else to describe it.
That's the
was
second time I
wildest thing
heard
I've
that
ever
this
seen.
week with Tracy saying the same thing.
It wasn't even just Tracy, but I also just found an old, because I'm going through all the old reels that I shared on Instagram before we really had a following on Instagram. And I said, I want to spiff some of these up and share them. And Penny Whitbroat, Nurse Penny, when she was talking about her NDE, I'm starting to realize this is one of those things that everybody tends to lean into when they discuss things like this, is that whatever they are being exposed to at that moment when they're in this situation, like what Larry's talking about, is almost a way to juxtapose how the world that we're living in is so much more of an illusion versus the authenticity of what you're being given a glimpse at.
Yeah.
Heavy shit, man.
Okay, keep going, Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this world is like, we're living in a plane that's real. It's the only reality we've known. But this was more real than the room. And these two tendrils dropped down out of this boiling cloud. And I'll give you an example of what it looked like, because when I got back, I was driving by a billboard, and there was a movie. So this was about 2008, I believe, because the video I worked on was released in 2009. And you can check out my Internet Movie Database page. It's up there as one of the films I worked on. And there was a movie coming out called, it's the one that takes place based on a true story of the kid that's attacked, and turns out the house was part of a mortuary.
Okay.
But it was Haunting in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And the movie poster has this kid with his mouth open and this black column going into him. Yeah. That was the closest thing I've ever seen to what I saw. And this came out,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
My India experience.
That's creepy.
So these two tendrils come down.
No tendrils.
And this was just wild. They touched, at least it seemed like, they touched my tongue, and I couldn't move. And the closest thing that I could relate to how it felt was when I was about 5. My dad was the major of the fire department of Oklahoma City. And he'd always told me, no matter what, do not ever play with the electrical outlet. So, of course, the first thing I did as soon as I got a hold of a house key is I stuck that key into the electrical outlet. I had to find out what he was talking about.
Good boy.
And I had that shock feeling where you can't let go for a moment, and finally was able to let go of that key. Last time I ever played with electricity. Smart. It was like that, but it wasn't as intense, but I couldn't move. I didn't think about it. I didn't guess what it was. It was like something just revealed to me, this is a demon. This is a demonic entity. And out of my mouth, it took a lot of effort. I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't magic. I wasn't in some kind of trance or anything like that. I just said, the Lord is holy. And as soon as I got that out, this thing that was more real than the room was real, had more volume than the walls did, I don't know how else to describe it, flattened out. Imagine putting a droplet of ink on an old microscope slide, and then you put the other slide on top of it to completely flatten it out, and you stick it under the slide. It was as flat or flatter than that. And it just zipped out of the room. It didn't go through the wall. It's like it zipped through the spaces in the wall, and it was gone.
Wow.
You said you said the Lord is holy. That's all you said.
That's all I said. I didn't think about it. And like I said, I'm not some holy roller. I've never experienced anything like this. I don't speak in tongues, any of that stuff. But man, was that real. And then the next day, I went back to I called up a couple people immediately, like seconds after it happened. Called up people from my church fellowship in California, because I was still living in California at the time. And I told them what had happened. And one of the older guys who's passed away now, he said, "You've been talking about Jesus, Larry?" And I said, "No, I mean, there's some people at the studio that I've talked to because they asked me about my life, and I don't wear my Christianity out of my sleeve per se. But if you ask me about it, I'll tell you. But I wasn't preaching the gospel or anything like that." And he goes, "Oh, yes, you were." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, you have upset the local gods, and we're going to be praying for you." And I really pondered that at the time. I talked to him since before he passed away about all this. And he was first generation from Italy. And after this experience, he told me that his grandmother was a witch. And we're not talking Wicca. We're talking old-fashioned Italian witch. So he had some experiences, but he wouldn't give me any details. But the next day in Trivandrum, I go to the coast again. There's a seafood restaurant there. I didn't tell anybody else about this. And I go over to the bathroom. It's like a little outdoor hut. And when I open it up, I hear this sound behind me, and I turn my head, and there's a little short palm tree that's maybe about 1.5 feet high, but there are no palm fronds on it. All the palm fronds are laying flat on the ground. And I hear this sound. And this is what it sounds like. If you've ever heard a Tasmanian devil, and I'm not talking about the guy that I animated at Warner Brothers, I'm talking about the real Australian Tasmanian devil and what they sound like, because I was a big nature buff. I'd heard that kind of things. I'd worked in Australia also. It sounded like that if you put it on an old-fashioned tape player and played it backwards. And
backwards
before,
sounds creepy.
When I got attacked in my hotel room, surprisingly, I wasn't angry. I was offended. I felt like you didn't have permission to be here, but you did it anyway. That's how I felt. This time I was scared and freaked out. This was in the middle of the day. So I literally propped the door open with my hand, turned the water on, went, in the name of the Lord Jesus, get out of here. And it ceased. I washed my hands, went back to sit down and finish my lunch.
Oh,
now, I thought that was the end of it. But when I got back to California, my oldest son at the time, I'm guessing he was probably about 5, maybe 6. He had a dark figure, because I think these things talk to each other. I don't think it was the same thing that attacked me in my room in India. But he had a dark figure raise up through the floor and stand over his bed. He was so scared to call out for me and his mom that he just threw the blankets over his head, and then eventually he fell asleep. He didn't tell me about that for I think he didn't tell him for at least a year that it happened. But it was right after I got back. So I think those two things were somehow connected. I never saw what he saw. Later on, I worked in Indonesia, ran an animation studio out there, and just moved back to the States and decided to move back to Oklahoma instead of California. But while I was out there, I was working 7 years out there running a studio. I was the chief creative officer of the whole studio in Jakarta, Indonesia. And we lived on a 22 or 23 floor apartment building in Jakarta. And one night I'm working late in the other room. I've got a studio set up in the room, and my wife saw these dark figures come through the wall, and we're 20 floors up, and begin to approach her. And she started praying. She'd never seen anything like this. And right after it happened, she started calling out my name, Larry, Larry, Larry. And I come in there, what? And then she told me what had happened. And that's been it for the overt, paranormal stuff. But it was pretty freaking wild. And I look at that and I go, man, I can't not believe in this stuff anymore. Not that I didn't already believe, I did. You know about these things, you're taught about these things. But when that happens, these things are real.
Yeah, you should make a movie about that. That's a creepy story.
Well, the book I sent you, I don't know if you got it yet, but I sent you a book with some drawings I packed in as a little gift in there. The book that I sent you, and if you want to, if anybody wants to read it, it's going to be released in 2 weeks on Amazon. I've written a lot of scripts working in the film industry and been a script doctor, but this is my first novel. And it's called The Giant Chronicles, Tip of the Spear. Just go to Larry Whitaker, author, 1T, LarryWhitakerAuthor.com. But the book that I wrote has elements of that blended into the story. It's kind of an action-adventure story, but there are real-life things that have happened to me that I kind of wove into the story. And one of the things, now, I don't know this. I think there's a couple theories people have told me what they think this was. Some people think it was a principality, which is a dark entity that rules over an area, and I kind of upset them somehow.
And and of course that goes back to what your friend, the Italian, first said.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy,
Mr. Police was his last name. He said local gods, little g. And then the other the other theory, and they may be the same thing, maybe they're different. I personally don't think that fallen angels are the same thing as demons. I think that demons, and my book kind of touches on this. It's about this kind of stuff. I think that demons are the disembodied spirit of the Genesis 6 Nephilim, the giants. Because giants, just like Noah's flood, are in every single ancient culture, without exception, every single one. And if theory is that they can't move on. They are the ghosts. They're not human beings. And they'll pretend to be us. They'll masquerade like us. But they can't move on. They're stuck here. We're not. When we die, we aren't stuck here.
You know, Larry,
But
I
these
wish
things are hanging around.
No, I wish. And then again, this is what I'm talking about. Here you are. You're an example of somebody that's out there working in Hollywood to varying degrees and to the highest levels in many cases too. And we always talk about how there's no good storytelling anymore, and everybody's just recycling stuff and rebooting stuff and race swapping stuff and all that. And I really wish people like you would start getting into like there's no Genesis 6 movies. I mean, this is stuff that shakes.
I wrote the book. It is so much easier to publish a novel than to get a script produced, because you got to realize that a teeny tiny percentage, less than 1% of all the scripts that are ever written ever get made. They might get optioned. I've had scripts optioned by Warner Brothers, but for them to actually go into full production, tiny percentage. And on top of that, you got to ask yourself a couple questions. Number one, is there something that's keeping these kinds of stories from really getting out there?
I was just going to ask you.
A lot of the horror movies are like, oh, evil's more powerful than God, and that's just not the truth. And so it's kind of glorified in Hollywood. But you never know, because you write a novel. Novels get turned into scripts, and a novel's once you have a proof of concept, like a lot of my friends, I worked for Stan Lee also years and years ago, and a lot of my friends have worked in the comic book industry. And one of the reasons the executives were so excited about comic books once they rediscovered them is because you can see the movie. It's right there in your hands in the book form. But in the same way, that's why a lot of the movies that get made are based on novels. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this the way that I want to do it, and I'll get the story out there. Mine's a fictional story, but it blends in these ideas and these concepts.
Very cool.
And a lot of novelists, I mean, look how many movies Stephen King's books have been made into, for instance. So a lot of these movies get made from novels, as you know. But something else that's very interesting, there's a local studio that I'm actually doing some work with right now on a project. The advent of AI, I mean, I don't think the end of the road for AI is going to necessarily be a good thing, but right now it's just a tool. If you're using it as a tool, I mean, you can use it as a high-tech Ouija board too, I guess, if you want to. But with AI, you're going to have much smaller crew. Like you could probably, instead of having a crew, like I don't know what we had on Space Jam, hundreds of people. But instead of having a crew of 100 people, you can probably make a high-end, high-quality film using AI as a tool within the next 3 or 4 years at the most. I think it's going to be sooner than that, with probably a dozen people, and do it with the quality that's expected out of Hollywood today. And I think you're seeing that right now. Hollywood's really being decentralized. The industry's really taking a hit because
there's
nobody
an AI
knows
actor, isn't there? An actress?
Yeah, we were talking about that even just last night. AI actress. There's actually one AI music artist that was just given a $3 million record deal.
Jeez.
And it's just all a animated front for these generators. Now, Larry, see, I'm glad you went there, because that's where I was going to go. Is there a bigger reason why scripts like these are avoided? And I was talking to Timothy Gordon about, because he loves Stranger Things, and I went on his show one day to talk about, because he was starting to do like almost like a movie review. You guys have seen Stranger Things, right? Are you up to date with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
there's a guy that I worked with. indirectly, I worked with his company called Michael Heiser. He's passed away now, but he loved Stranger Things, and he talked about the same kind of stuff, the same kind of stories that I'm telling you.
Michael
about.
Heiser. I know Michael. He's the one. He talks about the hierarchy of gods.
Yeah, the little G, the created beings. Yeah,
biblically, like he goes into like original translations of the Bible,
about the Nephilim too,
and how you know there is the chairman of the board over there. There is God, but there are hierarchies of
principalities and powers and all kinds of spiritual wickedness in high places.
Well, it makes you think.
The ones that fell.
It makes you think about all of the deities of antiquity that we learned about through the Romans and the Greeks and Mount Olympus, and how much of that was just lore, and maybe it really was.
Oh, I think there was a basis to it. There's too much of it out there, and it's in all these different cultures. Do you really think a bunch of people said, "Hey, there's giants that fly around, and there's these other gods, and they come down in the different forms, and they have sex with women and have babies, and Zeus and all those characters."
You think there really was
fake
a Kraken?
and all made up out of their head? I don't think so.
Well, Larry, this has been, dude, thank you so much for the call. Thank you for telling the story.
You got to call in more. You got to interview him.
You're very descriptive.
You got to call. Yeah, well, you got to call in more often, just for everything, because not only do you have some pretty good insight. I'm glad that we have quite at least a good handful of people who are really active in Hollywood and have done some interesting things, but it's great that you also have bigger perspective on what kind of a game that you find yourself in the middle of, and where that actually might play out in the bigger picture. So thanks for the call. And
I'll tell you, and I said this years ago to you in an email, because I found you when I was working in Indonesia. That's when I found you. I personally think you are the Art Bell of our age. So keep up the good work.
Well, thank you for that. Well, that's very high compliment. I appreciate your call tonight, Larry, and I hope it's the
Let
first.
Me know if you like the book too.
Yeah, I will. And thank you again. We have to do this more often.
Sure. All right, man. Take care.
Okay, take care. All right. So here's what I gotta say. The whole Stranger Things. As to what he was saying, it's interesting. We start wondering is there a bigger reason why these scripts aren't being picked up. And what I was talking about with Timothy Gordon when he was discussing Stranger Things up to that point, I think it might have been when season 4 was still getting picked through, and the final season's coming out sometime soon. And even like last season, which was a major bounce back, and it was really incredible stuff. But something that because when Stranger Things season 1 came out, that was prior to Aurora being born, and so many other changes in my life had really not gotten kicked off and really started accelerating, especially spiritually. And what I realized by season 4, and it's a pattern I see all over the place, is just what Larry said. What we do get from these movie houses is that, when they get supernatural or paranormal in some way, they are always going to focus in on the power of the darkness and never, ever acknowledge that there must be an equal and greater light balance to it. And in fact, the only way that the darkness can be destroyed is if some meddling little kids start, going through their Dungeons and Dragons, lore and find some kind of an antidote or whatever the hell it is. And when it comes to God, especially when we talk about the Christian perspective of things in Jesus, when it comes to Stranger Things, the only time that God or Jesus is invoked is when the kids are, cursing. They'll scream Jesus Christ for any, but it's more of like an exclamation about some kind of a fucked up situation they're in. They're never invoking any kind of an equal or greater, light power. It's always just them versus this evil that is ancient and almost impossibly has the advantage on everything and power and influence and everything, but they'll never go that far.
Yeah.
It's always
It's the big difference between that and any of these stories that people like you, and you have podcasts and these people with either out-of-body experiences, or no, when anybody comes in contact with some sort of demon and they say Jesus or they start praying, I mean, it's such a commonality between all of these stories.
Some of you in the chat room got to chill. That was a great call with Larry. I don't know why some people are trying to chase him off. Jeez, chill. 8860, go ahead. You're on the air. Hello?
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 Hey, Frank.
Hello?
Hey, Frank.
Hey, who's this?
This is John.
John, okay.
Willie.
Hey, what's going on, Willie? So what's your story?
I might have told it once before, but it was a spooky story of driving down a road, coming across a place down in Connecticut. You were talking to somebody, mentioned the Warrens there, and they mentioned the Connecticut hauntings and shit. You know, there's lots of hauntings in Connecticut. In any event, I'm coming down a road, and there's like a cemetery, you know, real old cemetery, and the lady in white comes in front of my car, right? And I slam on the brakes, thinking I'm going to hit her because she's right in front of my car, you know? And I, you know, leave some skid marks, whatever, and there's nobody there. And then the guy comes out of the car and he says, "Oh, yeah, what'd you do? See the lady in white?" And I was just like, what the fuck? And then that was the only time I seen apparition. And it freaked me out, but it was nothing. And the guy kind of like, what do you say? You know, it wasn't like a big thing to him.
Yeah.
This is at an intersection in Newtown, Connecticut. You know, Newtown, Sandy Hook, all that crap is right around, you know,
that's where we lived.
We lived there for 25 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And they even have that's where the crazy house was up there. What do they call them back then? The asylums. It was called Fairfield Hill Hospital. So I don't know. It's really spooky around that area.
Well,
and the second one, it's a quick one. Me and the wife are in our new house, right? Newlyweds. And we had a dog, right? The dog starts barking weird, you know, up to the corner of the house, strange, right? And we were unpacking and doing things, right? And we unpack it's not like a carafe. It's more like for brandy, but it was all crystal, right? And we take it out of the box. And we sat on a table, and the dog was barking in the corner. We said, "Stop that. What are you doing?" He stopped, and then he started again. He was like, you know, because like animals know or whatever. And the crystal goblet, decanter, like, you know, it's like a long neck, and it goes down to the bottom. It just shatters to pieces. And that was like the poltergeist weird thing at the house we moved into that was built in like the 1700s. You know, it had that like hand-hewn logs and things, and that was spooky. So those are my couple spooky things. Hey,
spooky things.
Hey, guy that likes blowjobs that played with Zozo.
There you go. Saying that's your name now. It's better than CSD.
Pretty good.
Same thing. Right?
Yeah. Well, Willie, thank you for that, and that brings something else up. And thank you, Willie, with those two stories. The lady in white. We don't have that around here, but there are other things around here, and it makes me think about what Larry was talking about with principalities. You think about what a territorial haunt. And when those happen, and if you look at it, you can find so many different types of maps of the U.S. and other places, other countries around the world, where they're almost like cryptid maps. And
I've never had anything happen to me, and I've asked for it.
No, I'm fine. I'm fun collecting stories from other people. I really am.
Because I think if it did happen, something like that did happen, I don't know how well I'd handle it.
See, I wonder, the lady in white, the fact that Willie saw her and then somebody else said, "Did you see the lady in white?" Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's
guy that told him he'd seen it before and it's like nothing to him.
Yeah. And is it really whoever the lady was during her short time on this earth, or is it a presentation that a much more powerful entity is choosing to be able to,
not hurting anybody, just walking across the street, right?
Yeah, causing car accidents.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
He said he got skid marks.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be scared too.
I'd be leaving skid marks. I'd be leaving skid marks if I saw that shit. Here, you want to take it? Here, you know what? Listen to this. I was going to play this one. This is a scary 911 call from North Carolina. Non-human. Just in this particular the poster said that was it a rake or something that
like
jumped
possessed
something
person.
Or fog.
Yeah, well, listen to this because this will get you.
It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
It says July 31st, 2021. But then again, this is not going to be a podcast, so you guys are all seeing it.
Tender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
You know.
Well.
Yeah, I know. You want something like that to happen to you, Dave?
No,
I want to stop driving my truck.
No, but I've been in situations where I know people have died in a room, and I'd just be like, "All right, if there's something, just give me something, give me anything," and I'll stand there for a couple of minutes just waiting.
Yeah,
daring it to happen.
Yeah,
not me.
Because I've never. The weirdest thing I've ever had happen to me was when I was a young kid. I was sleeping, and I had one of those dreams where you feel like you're floating above your bed. But for some reason, when I opened my eyes and woke up, I felt like I fell down in my bed. And I was like, that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. But I don't know what the hell it was. I was a little kid. It stuck with me.
Matt 1776 says, I heard the Jersey Devil area is an area super thin from a Vale perspective. It is a thin place. You're talking about the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. And that's what I'm talking about. And that has the lore behind the New Jersey Devil is that it was the 13th child of this local woman, and she cursed it or whatever the hell it was, and abandoned it in the woods. I don't know, and it became whatever. Yeah. Now you can say if we combine everything we're talking about right now, could it have been claimed by a principality? And then again, the sightings of New Jersey of the Jersey Devil is like so many other cryptid like harbingers, including Mr. Man on my chest right over here. it usually is some kind of a harbinger of a tragedy that's coming, or during a time of really great strife, like the Jersey Devil. I believe that was a Revolutionary War era kind of a where the lore started.
Is that right?
So it's sometime around like war, the build up to war, or there's a conflict that's going on where there's a lot of grief and whatever. There seems to be a thinning. That's just where these things usually go.
Okay.
I don't like, damn.
I don't like to think about it too much because then I get scared.
I know, but this is why you guys are here.
I like horror and horror movies, but I like all fake stuff. I don't like real stuff.
You don't like the real
I
stuff.
like real horror.
No.
785. Do you have any real horror for Sheri?
No real horror.
Good evening, Frank. It's the Sentinel.
Hey, Sentinel, how are you? Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to say hello to you, Dave and Sheri.
Hello.
AKA Denise.
Thank you.
Did you guys meet Sentinel when he was here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, we talked a lot.
Okay, good.
A lot. Anyway,
Good.
yeah, it's not exactly Sleepy Hollow, but when I was a young private, I returned home after basic training, and the battalion had set up new ID cards in a town that was about 40 miles away from where I was living. And so they wanted us to come in on a Thursday night, and I was so young and dumb, I didn't realize that, we had a blizzard, because we have blizzards out here, it looks like when you take the Millennium Falcon and go to light speed, the snow comes at you just like the Millennium Falcon going at light speed. All that light.
I love that.
And so I thought I had to be there because I was like, because they told me to be there. I had to go. So I'm driving, and I'm driving in a 1978 four-door Bonneville. And I bought it from my grandfather, who bought it from his brother-in-law, and so it was kind of a nice Bonneville, and I'm driving, and I'm coming up on this 2-lane highway, and I start having problems driving to where I slip off the road, spin 360, and go slightly under this nice gentle ditch, and I pray. And I asked the Lord to help me. And so I put it in reverse, and I rock my way out of it. And I get up on the road, and I start driving. And about half a mile later, I look, and the side of the road, I'm driving 35 miles an hour on a 55 mile an hour speed limit. And I look, and there's a drop-off that just goes 200 feet down.
Jeez.
I really believe, and I got this feeling that came over me that I wasn't supposed to die in a car wreck, and this was a wake-up call for me. So
took it down to 20 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I slowed down again.
Crawl home.
I get into town, and the armory's closed, and nobody's there, and I'm so mad because nobody called me and told me we're not doing it. I guess I was supposed to have common sense and not go
out in the blizzard.
So, but 19 years old, I thought I was supposed to be there. I felt so stupid. But anyway, hey, you guys have a great night, great show. Love you guys. Come back and be on Frank again on Saturday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
2 weeks we'll be here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, let's see. Well, that one, at least it was a wake-up call. We needed something a little bit lighter, something with some hope.
Exactly.
Oh,
the
man.
light. Someone's finally seen the light.
Yeah. Well, who knows what the hell we're going to be doing on the 25th? There's so many things here. 914-200-0269. Call in right now, and let's get a few more in. Here we go. 708. What do you got for us?
Hey, Frank, it's Rev.
Rev, how are you? Go.
I'm good. Well, first off, I'm sorry I disappointed you. I'll work on being a much bigger asshole from now on.
I know you're so surprisingly pleasant. I was preparing for the worst.
Oh man, and tell Sheri, yes, we did speak a little bit on Saturday more so than Friday, but SoStube has said that you have permission to play our cigar Quite Frankly reel.
Yes.
And I've dropped it to you in DM, so feel free to play that if you want. and I send it over to Sheri so she can see me. Okay,
good.
On to topic.
I need to have pictures of everybody because
go
I can't put anybody together.
She's
I
face
talk to a bunch
blind.
of people. I'm terrible like
It's
that.
been a problem her whole life.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I understand. I never remember people's names usually. I recognize faces, but I can never remember anybody's name. 30 seconds after I meet somebody, it's gone.
That's me.
Okay, stories. Poltergeist story. Growing up in my childhood home, we used to have some poltergeist activity. Nothing super creepy per se, but like the first time something happens, it's a little freaky, right? I remember the first time that this particular thing happened, but it was a recurring event. We'd be downstairs. This time, I've got a younger brother, but he wasn't born yet, so I was pretty young. I had to probably been around 5 or 6, and it would just be my dad, my mom, and me downstairs in front of the television in the television room. On the main level was just the kitchen and a front room, or like a living room. In the kitchen, on one of the back counters, we had a can opener that was plugged in, but it was always pushed all the way back against the wall. One night we're sitting downstairs watching television, and there was this ungodly crash that we heard from upstairs. We all kind of froze and looked at each other like, what was that? Go upstairs. This electric can opener is now lying in the middle of the kitchen floor, like face down, unplugged from the wall, everything. Could it have been some kind of an electrical event? Yeah, possibly. But I mean, there was no arcing, nothing scorched on the wall. The can opener still functioned. And this happened more than once. But after the first time, it kind of just became a running joke. And we'd be like, oh, the ghost is playing with the can opener again.
Funny joke.
Yeah, the poltergeist stuff is just the weirdest because, of course,
It's one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Yeah, well,
usually it's not malicious. It's just kind of like whatever objects move or I mean, the movie kind of took a different turn.
Thank God. It would have been really
but that's just it. I mean, it doesn't even have to be malicious. Like, for example, I think the real reason why I hate like rodents is because they're not supposed to be in the house.
Yeah, I despise them too.
The first place that we lived in, me, my brother, my mother, my father, until we moved out when we were in I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. It was like a normal thing for us to come home and check the mouse traps. There was just it was a clean house. It was just that it was hard.
Doesn't matter.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. And to see a mouse run across your baseboards or whatever that, you're just like, you're not supposed. You almost feel like you've been intruded on.
It just also makes you feel unclean. It's like gross. It's like
absolutely. But that's one thing to say. Another fucking mouse in the mouse trap over here. Smelling the peanut butter. It's something else to say. Something's in the room I can't see that actually has the power to move something.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to such deeper levels of get the hell out of here, or no, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out.
I have one more that is different, but it actually is a little creepier in terms of it really freaked me out at the time it happened. Now, I was a little bit older, so I might have been around 13 or so. I was in my room. I had been reading. I was going to bed, so I turned off my my reading lamp, and I laid down, and I just I wasn't sure what time it was, and I'm like, oh, how much sleep am I going to get? I think the next day was a school day, whatever. So I looked over towards my alarm clock, which was on the other side of the room, on a dresser, because I had to literally get out of bed to turn my alarm off, otherwise I would roll over and fall right back to sleep. So as I looked at the clock, and I think it was around 2:53 in the morning, and something passing from left to right started to block out, and it was like the large font red LED display at that time, and something started blocking out all the numbers until all 3 were gone, and then slowly it started to emerge again on the other side. I bolted up, shot straight up in my bed, turned that light back on. My feet hit the floor. There was nothing there. My bedroom door was closed. Nothing was in the room. My window was closed, so there's no breeze pushing, whatever, the drapes or anything like that, blinds, nothing like that. There was a cat in the house, but it was not in the room with me, and my door was closed. I actually went outside the room and went and found the cat, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't Tiger. Tiger's not in my room.
Well, was there a cat knocking all those can openers off the counter? Ruining all the can opener?
When the can opener. Yeah, when the can opener thing was happening, we didn't have a cat at that time.
Fair enough.
That was later years.
Right on.
So anyway, just something blocking out the alarm clock, and then, but there was nothing in the room that could explain it. And the hairs on my arm would stand up for years when I thought about it.
Well, thank you for it. Thank you for sharing here tonight. And I'm looking around for your for that that cigar video that you took with Stove Tube right now. I know I got it in.
It's just in our Discord DM, but if it's not close enough for you to find, I'll drop it when we hang up, and then you can play it.
You know what? Drop it there again, because it's definitely in my master folder for the Jamboree. But there's just so much stuff in there right now. I don't know what I'm looking for right away, so it's going to take me a little while. Send it to me.
Yeah, no worries.
Right. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, Dave, Sheri, Frank.
See ya.
See you soon.
I just noticed someone who was telling that story. That is it didn't happen to me. It was with our son when we had our first house. Trevor was, how old was he?
Oh baby, oh
He
yeah,
was-
with the
with the stare.
He was 2.
He was 2 years old, but he was talking at 2, right? And we were all hanging out in the living room, and we had a really steep staircase going up to the bedrooms into the living room. And he goes, "What's that?" And we're like, "What's what?" And he points over to the bottom of the stairwell, and he goes, "The lady."
Fuck that.
And we're like, "What? What lady? There's no lady there. You crazy?" And he was just like, "No, look, a lady over there in the corner. She's laying down." And then, come to find out,
Yeah, the lady died.
fell down those stairs.
Husband pushed her down
They
the
think,
stairs.
well, that's a whole other story. The lore of the town was like, yeah, he pushed her down. They were fighting all the time. But
And
that
then
that was creepy.
Yeah.
That was
So
that was
yeah.
weird.
Oh man.
Yeah.
See, I would get mad at Trevor.
I was like, knock it off.
I dismissed a lot of. He
Quit
talked
talking
all
your
the
craziness.
time, though.
Yeah, he would jibber jabber, but it was a little
It
weird.
was weird.
You know, going
I
back.
don't think you disconnected me. Am I still in there?
What's the matter? You can't listen to our stories?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm listening to your story. I'm like,
Eavesdropper.
I'm listening to Trevor's story.
Oh yeah, I thought you
As
were.
long as I'm still here,
It's cool.
I'll tell you, the end of the Friday night, the jamming was awesome. My favorite moment was really the end of the night. Ant did Alice in Chains. I think it was Down in a Hole. That was like the highlight of the night for me.
I remember that. Yeah, that was good. That's when Anthony jumped on.
He finally started singing.
At the very end. He started singing. I was but it was, hey, I don't care. It was like layers of music. At the end, that's when Gina from South Carolina started singing too, and everybody was just. It was good. It was good. I just like the whole night just happened the way it was supposed to. I got the.
Yeah, it was a very chill vibe.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Next time I'll make sure we have some central air. Thanks for the call, man.
All right, I'll catch you guys later.
All right, take care. Hold on. Here's the let me get
Quite frankly.
where is he?
Oh, okay.
Stove Stube, the Stogie with Stove Stube and
Quite frankly.
Oh, okay. I
yeah, that's right on the left.
Quite frankly.
And Stove Stube on the right.
Quite frankly.
There you go.
Who's doing the high? Who's doing that one?
They're harmonizing.
Oh yeah,
They're
I know.
harmonizing.
Talented.
Shoot. Oh, you know what? Going back to Larry again, I went and I grabbed the Tasmanian Devil sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exorcist.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Is that it backwards?
That's not backwards.
No,
Oh,
it's
you
just.
got see if you can find it backwards.
Why don't
Isn't
you
it
gonna
bad
summon
enough?
some shit here, and I'm gonna have to go home early.
I can't believe. I know you're not. I know you're just screwing around. Yeah, I figured you'd be like a pig laying in shit tonight. Like, yes, scare me. Why the hell would you even need that backwards? That's bad enough right there.
It's scary.
Well, because he said that's what it sounded like that, but backwards.
Yeah, I know, which would only make it worse. It would make it only worse.
Real
to be honest.
horror.
We don't have the technology.
Well, imagine if you got that Tasmanian devil sound coming out of some kind of a black soupy blob. That's you know.
Scary.
That I couldn't handle. That's
scary
crazy.
sound.
That's probably like the scariest.
It
thing
sounds
I could
like
ever
that
think
part
of.
from The Exorcist where he's listening to the tape recording and he's been playing it backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Like,
that's it.
It's scary shit.
No, we have to listen to some crickets to cancel that out. Some little angel crickets.
You know what? Hold on. I actually have I have some backup things to make us feel good. Hold on. Here's the first one. Here is a 2-minute video from Found Footage Fest. We were watching some stuff from the last time you guys were on with the scarves and all that stuff. Yeah. Here is making Halloween special.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to At Home for the Holidays. I'm Sharon Anderson. Today, we're getting our house ready for trick-or-treaters and planning special family celebrations for Halloween. And we have some wonderful ideas on how to make your Halloween special. So let's get started.
You got it.
This Halloween, you'll be the talk of the neighborhood if you greet your party guests and your trick-or-treaters with this eerie scene.
Wait, let's see this eerie scene again.
Horrifying, man.
Is that lettuce?
Treaters with this eerie scene.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. They're not giving veggies out, are they?
Broccoli.
It's a soft Halloween.
And someone's getting a veggie back in the window.
Oh, it's horrible.
Hi, Diane.
Hi.
This
You're going to
is
love this.
great.
Isn't this fun?
Yes.
This is a project
that
the
guy?
whole family can do. Each person can do a different piece of it, and then at the end of the party, you bring it all together. We have the green lettuce, and then we have the little ghosts on the back of it. And these are just suckers with Kleenexes over them tied with a piece of yarn.
Why can't you just say lollipops?
I hate that.
Suckers.
Here's some suckers. Hey, you want a sucker, honey?
All day sucker.
She wants a sucker.
Ugh.
She wants her very own sucker.
That's it.
They don't look like it.
Yeah, this is just the PG version. This woman was hosting regular key parties.
Here we have the dog house, as you can see, dog on the top
Crafts
of it.
in general
And then
have
the
come
cookies
such a
right
long
here.
way.
These are
Yeah,
actually
this
sugar
is so
cookies.
antiquated.
We mold those into bones and bake those in the oven.
Clever.
The path is done out of carrots, as you can see.
Carrots?
Here. And then we decorate the set with. This is broccoli.
I love
we
the
have
carrot
cauliflower
path.
and tomatoes down there.
Tell us about this.
I think my favorite is the paper towel roll, the leftover paper
Palm
towel roll
tree.
with the palm tree. And I actually put a couple of sticks in there, set that in there, and
And the sticks,
Put the hands on that chick. What?
the sticks stabilize it. You know, just think about it.
And she didn't even paint the fucking
Yeah.
roll, the cardboard.
You could have wrapped the cardboard with some brown construction paper.
Just a brown wash of paint, and those little lines. Unless that's what she did, she drew lines on it.
It's just the top off the pineapple.
that's right. We have the garage over here, and racing around are our potato cars. So
Once you get it all together, you have a way
Love
to
to
make
eat a
it.
nice raw potato. It's delicious.
Hey, I'm slicing the potatoes. Anybody want one? Ridiculous.
You can eat the carrots. Don't eat the potatoes.
You can make anything out of food.
Oh, Mom.
Big fucking deal.
We can eat the walkway. It's just carrots.
is this the
At least I could have made it out of candy.
I know.
It's a healthy
Some milk duds.
Halloween.
dry ice? We're going to put the hotter the water, the better it steams, and that will steam away.
Isn't that?
And that'll steam away for 15 seconds.
Exactly.
You're gonna be pouring water all night.
Fun? Well, tell me about dry ice. Where do you get it?
Well, actually, when you
Actually, I got this from a government waste. I live next to a government ammo dump, and
that's a good premise for a movie. Someone who goes on a morning show, and then everybody turns into zombies.
As you know, I live next to Jackson Lab, and
telephone book look under ice. So it'll steam for about 5 minutes, and you'll have a wonderful haunted house right there in your party.
Something to have fun doing and talk about afterwards. That is great.
Sharon, will you go ahead and fill that full?
Hey, I know
this with dry ice.
Hey, cool village.
We're going to put the hot water,
Got
and
any beer?
the hotter the water, the bigger the steam you get. Put the lid on that.
He's blowing
you
his
have
top.
one steaming party.
He was. He looks like he's blowing his
the
top.
Halloween magic from Diane Thomas. That is just great.
This
Coming
really
up next.
sucks.
Those are such
That was
cute
horrible.
faces.
F.
The soft Halloween.
Yeah. Well, here's another one for you. It's a coming attraction for a new Hallmark film that I can't wait for. It's eloquently named "Shove a Pumpkin Up My Ass."
Whose ass is it going in?
Oh,
which one?
I don't know. Both of them sitting around. I think I have one more over here. Here is another one from found footage. This is a short Halloween makeup tutorial for turning your child into a vampire. Here it is.
We're here at the studio, and I'm going to transform Grant into a vampire right before your eyes.
And she bites his neck.
Nerd.
And how the transformation will take.
She should have made him Frankenstein. Look
She
at the
should have got
size
a
of
kid
his
with
head.
a widow's peak at least. Look at that mess of hair she's got to contend with.
Grant?
That's not Dracula hair.
Now, before you get ready, make sure your face is clean. Grant has already cleaned his. Now we're going to take off Grant's glasses.
Whoa.
Wow.
He went from totally geek.
And put his hair back off away from his face. Now we're going to get some cheekbones. Grant, do this. This gives it a nice line for you. If you can't find where
It's
your
like Zoolander.
cheekbones are, sometimes you can feel them with your fingers.
Sherry's laughing because this is my exact
How do you
technique
feel?
that I used on Trevor when he was a baby boy.
Feel pretty spooky? Some vampire blood. Whoa. Well, what do you think? Here's our vampire. I think he looks
That's pretty
great.
amazing.
Now for a little added attraction, we're going to add some fangs.
Trevor.
Yeah, those things
You get
suck.
them in there okay?
They got cool fangs now. You could touch something at the roof of your mouth and the fangs pop down. They go.
I saw that.
It's cool.
Yeah, those fangs absolutely sucked.
Oh, they're
Those
awful.
fangs suck.
You
They
can
give me
only
canker sores.
Cutting your gums.
Yeah.
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it.
Bad news.
Dave dressed up our son when he was probably 5 or 6 as a vampire, and he looked exactly like that.
It was pretty much the same exact costume and everything.
I think your mom did that.
Only
to
he
you,
had
too.
his hair looked more like Dracula than that kid's did. I will say.
That kid had Donny Osmond hair.
Donny Osmond.
Hard to work with
That
full
fluffy
head of hair like that when you're a vampire.
carved inside part.
Oh, here's one last thing to make you feel better about things. Here is a headline from Politico. RFK announces that a blunt and a big fat goth bitch is the cure for autism. Woke scientists are fucking trembling. They're finally going to find out. Somebody in the comments says a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm telling you, those fat goth bitches. That's all that you need sometimes. Clears the tism right up.
Tism.
Let's take a call. 815. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, what's that? It's the Sheri and Dave.
Hello.
Sheri and Dave show featuring Frank.
Welcome to the show. 815.
Okay, so Larry, you better hire Trevor, otherwise you're going to have a pack of
No
Frank
shit.
Yeah, he's a
Coming
talented
to hunt you
kid.
down.
We talk about him a lot because he's a cool guy.
It's good. That would be great. Yeah, Larry's in the chat room right now. So there you go.
So check this out. All right. So imagine, you're sitting at a bonfire and somebody comes walking out of a cornfield.
Oh,
I live out here in the country and I'm surrounded by cornfields. We used to do this camping thing at our place years ago. Now, actually, this is probably about 5 years ago, not that long ago. And there's about 15 of us sitting around the campfire, and somebody comes walking out of the cornfield. Just comes walking out. You're talking about getting like scared as shit. Like, what the fuck?
Was it a monster or was it just a guy?
Yeah, what was it about?
What was his deal?
Was it Kevin
It's
Costner? I mean, Ray Liotta?
No, it was none of these. No, it actually ended up being benign. But the funny thing about the whole thing,
That's frightening.
it was scary at first. But the funny thing about it was, like I said, there's like 15 of us sitting out there. About 7 of us were men, and we stood up, and you heard this like zip, like skinning taking your gun out of your holster. And then we're all looking at each other like, wait, you're packing heat? You're packing? We had no idea that nobody was carrying. And so then we all escorted this gentleman out to the road, and we were.
And
like,
that's where
"Get
we
the fuck
shot
outta here."
That's where you killed the guy.
We killed him, and then we buried him in the corn.
Twist.
First, we stuck
No,
corn cobs in his eye sockets.
No, we watched him walk down the road.
He just came through and passed through your hangout and walked on.
Did what?
He just walked through your party or whatever.
Yeah, he just this guy just walked right out of the cornfield, past the bonfire, and we're looking at each other like, what the fuck? And then we all stood up.
Yeah.
And then
he's lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky you guys with your itchy trigger fingers.
So it was for like a couple seconds. It was like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Then it ended up being funny.
Well, I'm that. It doesn't matter what the hell the context is. If you are in a chill zone, especially in a nighttime setting like that near a cornfield, it doesn't matter who walks out.
Startling.
Yeah, that's gonna screw you up for a little while. The adrenal gland is gonna get squeezed.
You get that cold feeling all over your body.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, what the hell is going for like, I don't know, a couple seconds, 3-5 seconds. We're like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden you hear a bunch of us skin our pistols, and then we're looking at each other like, wait, you. It was just funny, and then we all escorted him out to the road, and nothing happened. But nothing very spooky. But if you're sitting around a bonfire out in the middle of in a
cornfield, cornfields are creepy in general. Yeah,
and somebody comes walking out, that's gonna make you a little bit nervous.
Did you talk? I mean, you became this guy's escort, so I guess there had to have been some kind of communication. Like, holy shit, man, you scared the hell out of us. Well, what was he doing in the cornfield? Just taking a stroll through dense bush?
This guy didn't say anything. He never said a fucking word.
Okay, that's weird.
That makes it scarier.
You got to bring that part up for sure.
Yeah, no, he just walked right out and walked across the yard, never acknowledged any of us.
It's 7 guns trained on his head.
He walked straight across the yard and then through the tree line, and we're all following him at this point out to the road. And then
he disappeared.
And heads
disappeared.
What's that?
Did he disappear into thin air? Because that would be really scary.
No, we watched him walk down the road.
Okay.
We stood out there until he walked. He got, I don't know, a quarter mile away.
Was he dressed like an early 20th century basebal player?
That's what I'm saying.
No.
It's like,
you sure it wasn't Ray Liotta?
He is a Ray Liotta. Did he say his name was Joe Jackson?
Joe?
Shoeless,
No, he didn't look like Ray Shoeless Joe or anybody like. No.
Wow, man. Well, hey, you know what? Like I said, it
wasn't spooky, but it was startling.
Yeah.
Cornfields are scary.
Yeah.
I got stuck in a cornfield once. I was driving with my friend across the country, and we got off somewhere in like Nebraska, and I had to bring her to jail. So
that's a whole other story. Let's not stay spooky.
So
had to report to jail.
Yeah. So, but we got off we were looking for a bathroom or something, and we thought we were on because we were trying to follow like the MapQuest thing, and we got on what we thought was a road, but it was a road that just started narrowing and narrowing until we were in a cornfield, and the corn was coming up on both sides of the car, and like we didn't know where we were going. We thought we were lost. I ended up in the middle of a cornfield.
Wow.
It wasn't scary. But.
Okay, well, this is where you need to know your directions, like
No
which way
shit.
is north, south, east, and west.
Yeah, it was
then,
nighttime.
Then follow the rows.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that, but it was nighttime, and we were still looking for a bathroom.
I'll tell you, when it comes to cornfields, it's been utilized in scary, creepy ass movies for a long time because I think everybody knows there's something about it. I mean, they're completely
Children of the Corn.
Well, that
Malachi,
E.T., even just like the revelation in E.T. I mean,
I watched E.T. a couple of weeks ago again.
It's great.
It's a great movie.
Signs.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on with corn in cornfields because they are absolutely disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so
so they have the corn mazes and stuff.
It's so thick that once you're in the field, I mean, there could be some kind of an interdimensional monster 2 feet from you, and you can't see them until you're face to face.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get those cutouts and those lanes for tractors and all that stuff. And I don't know. It's crazy.
They just came out with a movie called Clown in a Cornfield. Haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it.
Of course you will. That's why.
But it's not. I'm not chomping at the bit to watch that.
So, do you ever watch? If you can watch a movie like that and just go right to bed?
Sure.
Okay.
Don't make believe.
He watches them all
Yeah,
night.
I could. I live out here in the cornfields. I just know how to navigate them. I guess I don't know. Where I'm at, I just know my directions. But yeah.
All right. Well,
it was
Jerry Cornfields.
Thank you for this call, sir, and all the best to you tonight.
All right, Frankie. See you, buddy.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah. The corn setting is it's foolproof. You can do a lot in there. A lot.
I like to refer to it as maize, but that's just me.
Maize?
You're
Maize.
you're an old timey.
Instead of corn, yeah.
Thanksgiving's coming up. You have to call it maize. Is there an actual difference between maize and corn?
I have no idea.
I
Don't think so.
It's an Indian word for corn, isn't it? Maize.
Good for them.
I Google that shit.
Clown in a corn. Okay, here's something I'll say, because then on the 25th we'll do. Maybe we can go through classic horror film trailers.
Oh boy.
We can do classic horror film trailers. We can find the cheesiest things that we can do out there. I'll find a whole bunch of stuff for 20, and I'm sure that you guys will be able to.
I got stuff like that, but it's all on VHS.
Well, I mean, YouTube
Can't transfer it over.
The internet is incredible.
Yeah, I guess I could just look it up.
You can find a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Between now and then, I'm going to watch a Serbian film.
A what?
A Serbian film, the scariest.
I don't even know where it is.
Ever.
I tried to get rid of that movie.
It's in the Xanadu case.
Yeah, because I had heard a lot about that movie, so I was like, I got to see this movie. It's supposed to be the craziest movie ever, And
didn't you say it was just disturbing gore?
Well, there is, but it's a disturbing story. It's if you have never heard of it, if you Google it, you'll get a quick
I have no
synopsis.
interest.
Yeah, because there was a stint where my brother and I were trying to find the most fucked up movies, like the movies where after you watch them, you feel like you got to take a shower afterwards. You're like, oh, that movie was gross or whatever.
Well,
it's
saw
one of those type of things.
My
like
mother today,
Salo.
my mother, I think she at some point during the day, the original House of Wax was on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I heard Vincent Price's voice while I was putting my shoes on before I went to confession, and those are the types of films that I could watch all throughout October and just put it in. Just House on Haunted Hill, the original one, is actually kind of creepy. That used to get me, especially
atmospheric.
Yeah, but what's a horror film that you guys could watch to literally just get cozy to?
Death Becomes Her.
Evil Dead. Oh, yeah. Well,
and Death Becomes Her. We watched that a couple nights ago.
Death Becomes Her?
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's a great movie. That's a
and
great
Evil
movie.
Dead 2 is good. That's funny.
I'll watch any of the Evil Deads. They're my comfort TV shows.
I can get comfortable to Army of Darkness. And I can also watch, I think I can watch Halloween.
I don't think Halloween's scary.
Oh, any of the Freddy Krueger ones I can watch.
Yeah, all those Nightmare on Elm Street movies are fun.
I can't watch anything with Lauren. Anything.
No, she doesn't like it.
No, it was a major victory for me to actually get her to watch, even though it's not horror. It's psychological thriller, suspense. The Silence of the Lambs.
Mm-hmm.
I got her to watch that.
It's a really good movie. Won an Oscar.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But as far as a horror film or a scary, even Spookies, my father's film Spookies, she's never watched that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I know.
I watched that shit before I knew you guys.
Well, yeah.
You know what was good? That Silent Night one. What's that? Is that what it was called? The Christmas
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Movie? Very good movie.
Yeah, it's better than it
It's
sounds.
really good.
Yeah, it's
I
classic.
actually enjoyed it.
I like all those like The Beast Within. You ever hear that?
Never
one?
heard of it.
It's very obscure, but it's really really good. And it's got great character actors. Yeah, if you like horror, you got to check out The Beast Within.
I have some people in the chat room are putting. Let me see here. OG Halloween. Vesper says Houseu. Hausu,
Yeah.
1977.
The House. Yeah, it's a Japanese movie, I think. House.
Yeah.
It's really weird and bizarre.
Yeah.
Those are like torture-y ones.
No,
right?
it's not torture-y stuff.
Okay.
She got upset with me because I was watching, what the heck was that?
Audition.
Audition. That
It was disgusting.
Tashiki
Like
Miki
torture.
movie.
It's torture.
Well,
see, that's not that's not hard to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
it
that
doesn't bother me.
Midsummer movie was scary as hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Midsummer.
It was a good movie. I like that movie.
Scary.
It's like a Wicker Man kind of a movie, that's a great movie, Wicker Man.
See, I haven't. I don't know. I don't have a.
I'm gonna write a list of you for all the horror movies that you have to watch before you die.
Yeah.
So you better get to it, Buster.
I don't know. Anyway, okay. So then that's another thing we can do. You got to put in maybe just put together a list of 10 films that you think everybody should watch.
Sure.
Before they die.
Okay.
So bucket list horror films.
Yeah.
But restrain yourself. Don't go to like just the craziest. I would say
I'll try to make it so.
Like there has to be some kind of narrative.
Yeah, he's not a horror snob.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I've seen the
He'll give you
crappiest of the
good
crappy movies, which I like, and I've seen the big budget.
I
stuff,
love
which-
crappy horror films.
Yeah, me too.
Those are fun.
Yeah. That's why I watch Spookies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's maybe my father can call in on the 25th. Maybe he can call in to give us an update of what's going on with the Spookies the sequel,
right? Yeah.
Because I think that would be a major, if that thing goes through and they don't do a last scene zombie chase with as many of the living cast members coming back.
Sure.
Because
absolutely.
I mean, they have been at that point, they've been absorbed by the property. They should be a zombie at the
They
end.
need to be part of that non-existent story that is Spookies.
Yeah, they're still trying to make it all work. You want
They
to
should
talk about?
add the
I love
bats
the
in.
movie.
They really
I've
need to
probably
add the
seen it.
bats overhead to
Trevor
make your
Trevor
dad's
loves
run
that
make
movie.
sense.
No, it wasn't bats. It was supposed to be ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Swirling ghosts. Hold on, maybe I can find. Do they have Spookies on YouTube in full? They used to. Let me see, real quick.
Oh, good.
Spookies full. Spookies full movie.
Did you see the drive-in?
They do.
What is it?
Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah, good.
Did you see the version where Joe Bob did Spookies?
So
No.
Joe Bob Briggs had the show on
yeah.
Shudder.
It was really good because he reviews it. He kind of talks about the movie as
he
they
mentions
play
your
it.
dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
You
love
should
Joe
watch
Bob
that.
Briggs. I watch him all the time.
Wait a second. Let me see.
And Darcy the Mail Girl.
They're about to run out of the house. Oh, here it is. Here it is. My father.
I don't see nothing.
Wait, hold on.
No,
Don't
see
worry.
nothing. Okay, there.
Don't worry. Hold on.
All right, thank you, Frank. I was getting nervous.
Okay, let me see. Let me get to you guys. We'll just take everybody off the screen for a second. And boom. Okay, so Lewis is going to get sucked into his grave, and this is when my father and the other woman that he shacked up with in this, they are about to run back into the house, but what they have them responding to. Okay, you'll see. There's my dad.
Yeah.
Here, right here. Watch, ready? So flying above them as they're cowering like that.
That is hilarious.
Okay.
I mean, they could have just went in and scratched the film up a little to make it look like some sort of apparitions or there.
Well, so they're supposed to be ghosts swirling around them, and that got taken out, and they replaced the ghost with the laughing from the guy that they were,
The old guy?
from the old man.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine there's
This looks like he's dancing or doing a really
Yeah, he just had like a spasm right before they ran.
spastic.
like 41 years later.
I got a cramp.
They're still trying to retcon this thing to make sense. And I really hope it goes through, and I hope that we have some fun
I do too.
That would be great.
updates on the 25th. But that's it for tonight. We had great calls. We had great things, and we'll have more to do in a couple of weeks when we come back for another Saturday night special right here on pilled.net and quitefrankly.tv. You guys have been fantastic. Let me go to all the super chats real quick. I released a scratching before, but we had Two Dogs. Mike D said, Sheri and Dave, awesome meeting and hanging out with you guys. Can't wait to do it again soon. Stacks, thank you. Sean Joe. Rev says, Frank, Stowstube gave permission for you to play our cigar. Oh, we did that. And then Gambera and Sean Joe once again. You guys have been really wonderful company, and thanks again for everything.
Thank you. I can't wait to see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it'll be a fun time. So mark it down, ladies and gents. We'll do it again.
Larry, come that night.
Yes.
You got to be there.
You got to do something. That's all. All right. Nighty night, everybody. Be good.
Bye.